Lately I've been thinking about this life and how it brought me here. Staring at this man in the mirror, I see him often. He'll wipe my tears. Only if you knew what I was going through. Only if you walked it in my shoes. Certain things don't like to talk about, but I'll always remember. The chaos in my mind turned my heart out in November. I'm surrounded by too many.
Welcome to the Message Hope Podcast, where the hope stands for hearing other people's experience. My name is Adam.
My name is Mike, and today on the show we have Tiny in here. He's got a little over 5 years clean, and he's here with us to share his story with us. Tiny, welcome.
Thank you, man. Glad to be here.
Yeah, grateful to have you, dude. And thank you for coming on a Saturday. It's a little different
for
us. Yeah. Usually we try to do it on Sundays because more people are less busy on Sundays. We're less busy on Sundays, but
okay.
You know, I'm heading out for family stuff on tomorrow, so
I'm looking forward to a Sunday off.
Yeah,
I am.
Yeah, I'm looking for a Sunday. I guess in Palm Springs, hot as fuck. All right. Anyway, yeah, Tiny, thank you for coming on, dude. I've known you for a few years. Mm-hmm. You know, before I knew you, I've always heard like, oh, you got to meet Tiny. He's such a good dude. He's such a good dude. And then I met you, bro, and none of those fucking rumors were lies. You know what I'm saying? You're an amazing dude. I've heard you speak. I know how much of service you are in your area, bro. I've seen you, put on events and obviously not by yourself, but like really like diving into all that stuff. And the people around you are amazing, bro. So yeah, we're really grateful to have you on there.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was the first time I met you. You were emceeing an event.
Really?
Yeah, over in Memorial Park.
Oh, wow.
Forget the event, but
it might have been a fundraiser for the Labor Day Marathon.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Yep.
All right, Tiny, let's get started. Tell us what it was like for you growing up, man. Like, what was your family dynamic like? Did you grow up in California? Things like that.
Yeah. So I've lived all over the place, man. But I was born in like Pasadena area. My mom and my dad never really got along as far as I can recall. Right. Like I remember. Like even when they were like in the same house, it was usually like my dad would be sleeping in the living room, my mom would be in the bedroom, I'd stay in there with her or bounce back and forth. And my mom has muscular dystrophy, so as long as I can recall, she hasn't been able to like walk on her own. Right, She always needed some kind of assistance. I think it happened when I was about like 2 years old. I think she was like 26 when she got it, which is kind of rare for that disease. She got it kind of late in life, but I just remember like in my earliest memories, she would like walk with a cane, and then she would need like the cane and the wall, and then it went from her needing help to get up out of the chair or off the couch to she had a wheelchair that we'd push her around in. Then she got a little electric scooter. So that's kind of what I grew up with, man. Was helping take care of mom. My dad is one of us, and he worked out of state a lot. He was a union plumber, and so he'd be working in Wisconsin, I think, to probably try to get away from my mom too. She's no angel. So yeah, it was kind of like, my dad would, he was never like, he was not an absentee father. But I just, I spent more time with my mom, who kind of let me get away with more. My dad was the enforcer. And so, yeah, man, I just, that's kind of what I grew up like, had a big family, on both my parents' sides. Like my dad's side of the family was like the fun side, right? Like they were real tight, man. We do holidays together, big old, Christmas so Christmas, Easter, and Thanksgiving were the big holidays that we got together on. And then we would celebrate everybody's birthday that fell around that holiday on that holiday. And so that was always a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. And then with my mom's side of the family, it was we were kind of like, my sister and I, and even my mom, were like the black sheep of that side of the family, kind of outcast, right? Like for whatever reason, like my mom's sisters didn't really like my mom. I feel like part of the reason was because even though she was like a single disabled parent, she was still like one of the first to move out, and everyone else was still living with grandma and grandpa. So I never felt a lot of love coming from that side of the family, as I got a little bit older, the family life kind of like like my mom's side of the family, my aunt lost the house that my grandpa bought, and she convinced him that he's getting old and she should put it in his name, and then took a loan out on it, wasn't able to pay it back, and then had to move that whole side of the family to New Mexico. And so like there went half my family, right? It was like the half I could do without, but like still there goes half.
Right. Yeah.
And so it was the other side of the family, and we all, it was just really mainly holidays that we got together and hung out. So like when it comes to like my family, I have an older sister. We don't really talk much today. But that's kind of the family dynamic that I had, right? Like when it was good, it was great, right? But it was just like mostly those 3 times a year, and then the rest of the time it was just kind of like me and mom.
Yeah. So what was it like for you in school? You went to school in Pasadena?
Yeah, school, man. School was I was always a problem student, right? Like the doctors diagnosed me with ADHD. I had it's funny when I was in like the 3rd grade. I remember going to talk to this lady in her office, and she would ask me a bunch of questions and stuff, and because I always acted like I would act like I didn't know how to read. Like when they would call me to read, I've always been lazy, and so I didn't want to read in front of the class. I could read, I just didn't want to. And I remember that I would be going to see this lady in her office, and she'd ask me questions and like show me, give me pieces of paper and, can you answer this? Can you answer that? And I never wanted to do anything. And so they switched my classes, and I thought it was great, man, because like there was this class with a bunch of toys in it, and we got to like play all day, and we go to recess, so we had the playground to ourselves. I was like, this is the best, man. And some of my friends hit me up after school. They're like, hey, what happened to you? I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, you're in the class you shouldn't be in, man. Like, they were making fun of me, right? I don't want to say anything to offend anybody, but they were like making fun of me, like, you're in that class. Yep. And I was like, no way. And they go, look around, dude. And I remember going back to school and looking around in that class, and I went, oh shit. Like, and so
you're like, I'll read now.
Yeah. So I went into the in the 3rd grade when they put me there. They said I had like a 1st grade reading level, and I left when I started my 4th grade year. I was in regular school with the 6th grade reading level. So I've always needed the right kind of motivation, to get me going. Like I've never been a dummy, but I also never wanted to do any work, and
that's funny, dude.
Yeah, dude. So school was tough, man. I went to 8 different high schools in 4 years of high school, or like forms of high school. I never spent more than 1 semester at a high school, whether it was because I was expelled, I didn't have enough credits, or I just moved or something, but it was usually not having enough credits. So I would start a semester, like I started school in the 9th grade at Redlands East Valley. I got expelled from there because I shot a kid with a rubber band gun on the bus. I was telling Adam earlier, I used to live up in, my dad was a ranger up by Seven Oaks way up Highway 38. And there was a bus that would pick us up at like 5:45 in the morning, and I was the furthest stop out. And it was like 10, 15 minutes to the next bus stop where the kids got on. So I would talk to the bus driver. And so I always got like picked on for talking to the bus driver, right? Like that was lame. Yeah. And so like I would get paper thrown at me and shit. And I just had it one day. So I got my dad's rubber band gun. I loaded it up. And the first piece of paper that hit me in the head, I just turned around and just started shooting the rubber band gun. And I hit some kid in the face. I got kicked out of there. My dad wasn't going to be doing 120-mile round trip to drop me off and pick me up, so I had to do independent studies. Then I went to my sophomore year, so that was my 2nd semester of freshman. Sophomore year, went to Rosemead High School. Not enough credits there. Went to Valley Lindo, continuation school, caught up on all my credits there. I went to South Hills High School. And it's funny because I was like ahead on credits, but as soon as I got back into mainstream school, I would fall behind again. I would stop doing all my classwork, be lying about homework. Oh, I don't have any today. And I would lose all that progress until I got sent to one of these continuation schools. I went to Fair Oaks continuation school. Caught up on my credits there. Moved out to Arizona. I went to a school in Arizona for my senior year first semester, and then I got expelled from that school because I had made what was considered terrorist threats to an educational facility. And so they came and arrested me at the school, and I got my GED in Arizona juvenile detention facility.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you think was causing you to act out like that?
You know, it's I've always had so it's somewhere between my laziness and like the rebellious nature that I've always had, right? Really what caused me to fail so much in school is like I would rather do anything else than homework, right? Yeah. And it was, like the line just came so easy, right? The manipulation. I'd be crying, swearing that I didn't have homework, ripping pages out of my agenda, for acting like I lost it. I really think laziness was a big part of that, and I think that's why I would, when I would get to these continuation schools, I was like, man, this stinks. But if you put a packet in front of me, right, and like I didn't want to do the long, drawn out process of school, right? But I'd go to these continuation schools and they give me a few packets, I could knock them out in a couple weeks, and I'm all caught up on credits. Yeah. And then they put me back in regular school, and I never wanted to do like that mainstream, what everybody else is doing, schooling.
Right. Yeah. Did you find it difficult, like adapting, like moving around so many times?
You know what? No. Actually, no, because I got to be somebody different at every school that I'd show up at. Yeah. Right? And I got to take on the personality of that other cool guy at the last school that I was at. Yeah. I could start doing some stuff like him and show up to this school and be kind of cool. And it never worked. I was always kind of lame in school. Right? I was never like a cool kid, man. I would hang out with the kids who did the lightsaber battles at lunchtime, that would be like what, but it wasn't, I was like the coolest one of them. Yeah, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like,
you were the leader of the cool.
Yeah. I didn't have my own lightsaber or anything, but I would hang out with them and kind of, but yeah, I remember one school I went to, I pretended that I was mute. Because there was a movie called Lightning Jack with Paul Hogan and Cuba Gooding Jr., I think, man. And in the movie, Cuba Gooding Jr. was mute. And I thought that was so cool. And so I went to another school. And and at lunchtime, right, I would go hang out with these other kind of nobody kids. And I didn't have any classes with them, so they didn't know that I could talk like I've been doing in class. And I would just act like I was mute. And I'd be writing stuff down on paper. And everyone thought it was so interesting. Yeah, I reveled in it.
Wow. That's fucking funny, dude. That's funny.
I haven't thought of that in years, man. But yeah.
That's fucking funny, dude. So did any kind of drug use or anything like that happen while you were in high school, middle school?
Yeah, I want to say when I was at that continuation school, yeah, I remember that's like the first time that that I smoked weed was at that continuation school. I had got drunk once on a 4th of July before that, when I was probably maybe in the 9th grade. But I wasn't a drinker. I just, I was with a bunch of older guys. They were like, oh, I was pounding Zimas, and they were like, oh, have another one. And yeah, I just got wasted. And I remember crawling over to my grandma's house next door to get back to my room. But I remember for a long time, man, I pretended I would smoke weed. I would just hit it and hold it in my mouth and blow it out. Yeah. And maybe I felt kind of dizzy, or I would act high. And then I remember that when I actually got high, I was going to that school and we were smoking out of an apple at this park.
Old school, bro. Yeah. Kids don't even know about that.
No, man. Smoking out of an apple at this park funny. Down the street, and I felt fine, but when we left and we were walking, everything just started to whoa, man, it was I was tripping. And then we walked into this. I remember we walked into this little corner store right there, and I was howling, laughing. They had those bags of the mini Oreos had just come out, and I saw them and I thought it was the funniest thing. And so me and my friend were laughing, and we turned towards each other and we slam our heads into each other, and we're just laughing, and it was great, man. I was having a great time. And I remember getting on the bus to go back to my grandma's house, and like the panic set in of like, oh shit, like how, like I'm ripped, dude. Like how am I gonna explain this to? What if she's there? What if I see her? And I remember there was a guy on the bus whose name was, he said his name was Angel, right? Because I think I was probably crying or something on the bus, dude. Like I was freaking the fuck out. And he's like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I'm high. I've never been high before. You know, I don't know what to do. I got to go home. And he's like, hey, just chill out, dude. You're gonna be fine. So what you're gonna do? You're gonna go home. If your grandma's there, you're gonna just tell her that you're really tired. You go in your room, lay down, and like he just laid it out, like go in the room, lay down, you know, and just go to sleep, dude. You're gonna wake up and it's gonna be fine. And I got home and there was nobody there, and I was like, oh, thank God, right? So like I rushed into my room and I jumped in my bed, and I remember jumping in my bed, and all that fear and anxiety that I had about getting caught was gone. And once I was in the bed, I was just like, this is the best thing that I've ever done, and I can't wait to do it again. You know, so that was the first time I got high, and after that I had started smoking pot.
I remember when I smoked weed in middle school, dude. I would take the city bus home. Yeah. And it was number 4 San Bernardino, so it went like around the 3-4? Yeah, the 3-4. So it went around the whole San Bernardino, dude. You know,
Bayside, Highland,
all of
medical
it, dude.
center,
all the way. Yeah.
To
So I was going to medical center from Arrowview.
Yeah.
And so I took the bus, dude, and I was so fucking high that I missed my fucking bus stop, dude. So I had to take the whole trip.
You end up by the Walmart in Highland?
Yeah, dude, I had to take a trip all the way back around San Bernardino just to fucking make it home, dude.
Because getting off at the next stop and catching the other one the other way didn't register.
No, not just that. I don't think I had the money for it either. Yeah. I think it was like $1 back then, and I would get like $2, $1 to school and $1 for home. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And yeah, I just didn't make it, dude. So I had to fucking take that whole fucking bus ride all again. And then by that time, my high's already going down. I'm like, man, what am my mom going to think? And
the walls start closing in.
Tell her I was at.
Yeah.
You know, when you were talking about the apple, I could almost taste it. Right? It was apple with a little bit of pencil lead.
Yeah.
I was like, I remember that. Dude, with some swag in it.
Oh yeah.
We thought it was the coolest fucking thing, too. The greatest invention in the world, dude. Yeah. Oh, you can make a pipe out of an apple? Yeah. A kid come out of his house on the way to school. I got the apple. That's just funny.
So inconspicuous, too. Yeah. Nobody's questioning that.
Yeah, nobody's questioning. Oh, you ate an apple today. Good job, dude.
He's a healthy kid.
And my kids left with an apple. I was like, really? Yeah. No hot Cheetos today? Apple? Okay, cool. You know? Yeah. I'm gonna be suspicious if my kids ever leave the house with an apple.
Yeah, something's up.
Dad, can you buy apples?
My son actually just asked me that too.
Watch him.
The girls had him do it. He's gonna know, so you ask him.
Yeah.
You know, another similarity that I could get from your story is like getting home and being stricken with like anxiety, like who's gonna be there? Are they gonna notice?
Right.
And nobody was home when I got there either. And I remember going to the bathroom and looking at myself in the mirror.
Oh, yeah.
And I had that same feeling like, this is it.
Yeah.
This is it right here.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I had that feeling after the first time I smoked, too. And I used to share about it all the time, dude. But, like, I smoked my first joint. I went home. We were poor, dude. My mom was loud, you know. And so all we had was, like, beans and rice by the end of the month. I would say the last half of the month, dog, all we had was beans and rice, you know. And I fucking hated beans and rice. And, like, the beans and rice were fucking amazing, right? I didn't care that my mom was yelling. I didn't care that we were poor. I didn't care about any fucking, like, living circumstances we had. And I remember just thinking, like, this is it, dude.
Yeah.
This is the fucking answer. You know what I'm saying? And obviously I wasn't like, I'm going to be a drug addict. None of us ever fucking think like that. But I was like, this is it, dude. And then after
opposite,
that,
really.
Yeah, after that, I wanted to be high every possible chance I could. And it got to a point, dude, where I used to have, like, remember the old Curve cologne? You know what I'm saying? We would have an old Curve cologne.
Dude.
Yeah, fucking some eye drops, right? Some fucking whatever,
Rotos.
right? Huh?
The Rotos.
Yeah.
We would go to Walgreens and steal Rotos.
Yeah.
And they would burn your eyes, but it would clear them up.
Yeah. And then, but at some point, I got to this place where I was like, fuck it. She knows I'm high. Who cares, dude? Yeah. And it's weird because I would walk in, the first time I walked in my house high, it probably smelled like weed, not really caring. My mom didn't care either, dude. You know what I'm saying? It just kind of became like a normal part of our life. Yeah, my son smokes weed.
Dude, I had my grandma convinced, right? Because, like, again, you start getting looser with it. And so, like, I would start smoking in my room and blowing it out the window. And my grandma came home one day, and she starts knocking on my door, and and I answer, and I'm like, yeah. And she goes, it smells like polecat over here. I'm like, what's a polecat, right? Like, I'm stoned, man. She's like, a skunk, right? She's like, she's old, man. It's like, I guess they called them polecats back in her day. It smells like a skunk. And I'm like, oh, you know what? I saw a couple skunks out in the front yard last night. Really? I go, yeah. And she's like, oh, man. And dude, I had my grandma convinced that our neighborhood was like infested with skunks, because she would always come home and be like, "Oh, it smells like skunk again." I'm like, "Yeah, they're out here, Grandma. They're running amok. I see them all the time."
Okay, boy. Yeah. I see them all the time. She's like, really? I've never seen one.
Yeah, I think she even went and picked up a trap from the from the pound. She picked up a trap and put it in the backyard, because she's like, "We got to do something about these skunks."
That's funny, dude.
So you graduate with your GED in juvenile hall.
Yeah.
What landed you there?
So, man, I used to. So when I moved out to Arizona, like I met juggalos, right? And so like for the first time in my life, like I met some people that were like nobodies, like I always felt like, but still like accepted me, right? And like really made me feel at home. Like I didn't fit in with anybody my whole life, right? And like that's who the juggalos are, right?
Yes.
Like they're society's it's the land of forgotten toys, right? Or the land of misfit toys. And so I fit in really well with them. And I started listening to the music, right? And like that music will make you want to kill somebody, dude. Yeah. So like
talks about
slap a bitch or all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. And it's funny too, you know, like I sometimes I listen to it, you know, I'll throw something on for nostalgia's sake, right? And like I'll listen to it and I'll just like, oof. Like I'm like, damn, dude, like I used to. Like it's crazy, right? And there's, you know, and if you kind of like read between the lines with most of their music, there's a pretty good message behind it, right? They're like against any kind of bigotry. They hate woman beaters and shit, right? Like so like in their songs, like those are a lot of people that they're killing. Yeah. But they would sing about it a lot, and so I used to have like. It feels so fucked up to say, right? But I used to have like aspirations of being like a mass murderer one day through like this music that I would listen to. And so it was right after the Virginia Tech school shooting happened. I made a bulletin on MySpace, right? Because like the guy, he went in there and like I think he killed like 7 people, and I just kind of went into too much of an explanation about how easy it would be to do something like that. I don't know if this is something we talk about.
It's okay.
Yeah. But like I just went into too much detail about how, you know, you can get everybody in the classroom, right? I just went too far into detail about it, and I think I really don't remember, but I think I even put something like "Look out 2009" or something like that. Like the class was going to graduate, and like maybe 2 days later, man, I was in Arizona was cool. They had a construction class, right? Which I think more schools should have, man. But they had this class, and we were building a retaining wall for one of the buildings on the property. And the school had an agriculture class, and so there were cornfields, and we were gonna have a pizza party that day. And I remember that I had a cinder block in my hands, and I'm waiting for the guy to put the mud on the block, and I just hear behind me, they're like, "Hey, Eric, just drop the cinder block and don't turn around." And I was like, "When?" I start turning around, and then I hear like 5 people like, "Don't turn around, don't turn around." And so I stop, and they're like, "Drop the cinder block, put your hands over your head, and walk backwards." And so I walk backwards, and there's like 2 detectives, like a couple SWAT guys there, like with the masks and the helmets and rifles and vests, and like 4 more of them walk out of the cornfields, right? So like they had it like planned, and they surrounded me, and they brought me back to that. They brought me back to the office, and they showed me all the stuff, right? They're like, "What's this all about?" And I was like, "Oh, I was just fooling, you know." I was just, I don't know, like I was just joking around. And they're like, "Well, nothing about that's funny," especially like right after the Virginia Tech thing. I think it was on April 20th.
420.
Yeah, it was on, I think he did it on 420, and so it was like 2 days later. Might have even been the next day. I don't really remember. Probably was the next day. And so they're like, "Well, we don't think anything's funny about this," and and they really tried to throw the book at me for that. They tried to try me as an adult.
Really?
The psychologist or psychiatrist, I don't know the difference really, but he was kind of on my side. He's like, I don't feel like you're like an evil person. He's like, I feel like you're a dumb kid who said some dumb stuff.
Yeah.
But he's like, they're gonna try to make an example out of you.
Yeah, of course they are.
Yeah, and so I was about to turn. I think I might have still been 16 at the time. Yeah, I was still 16 at the time. And so I went to, so they took me to juvenile hall for like a month. They took me to juvenile hall. And I would go to court and this and that while they were figuring everything out. And they wound up dropping the charges to, they dropped them a few times. It was a hoax of first it was a terrorist threat to an educational facility. Then it was a hoax of a terrorist threat at an educational facility. And it was finally dropped to attempted hoax of a terrorist threat to an educational facility, which was still a felony, even for a minor in Arizona. So, so I did my 28-day stay or whatever over there. I think it was like, it was a month. And I got out of there, and then I was on probation. I was on house arrest after that, and then probation until I was house arrest for a couple months, and then probation until I was 18.
Okay.
Probably on a watch list too.
You know what? So they came to my house, right? Like the bomb squad and everything. Dogs. They had metal detectors in my backyard, and my dad was working in California at the time, so my grandma was staying out there with me. My poor grandma, dude. They were metal detecting the backyard. All kinds of knives and stuff that I had in my room were when I got like home. All my shit was like, my room was tossed and everything was gone through, and all my little weapons that I had were taken. And they took my dad's computer, and like when they got it back, my dad like tried to wipe it because like I couldn't log into MySpace on that computer. They told me I wasn't allowed to have a MySpace anymore. And so I think my dad like wiped the computer, but there was one file on it that couldn't be deleted. It was, it's got to be like some kind of a tracking or whatever prevented me from getting back onto the MySpace.
Yeah.
But I remember like I couldn't get back on, but then we got a new one and I got back on.
Same account?
Can't hold me down. no, that account was the Homeland Security deleted it or something.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a big deal, man.
Yeah, I just seen a podcast where this dude, he was talking about not a full podcast. I always say that, but it's like a parts of podcast that they post, you know. And he was talking about, he said every social media platform has a backdoor, all of them, and all the backdoors, FBI definitely has a part. There's like one social media, I forgot what they said it was called, bro. It was like a video chat thing where the dude got arrested in like fucking Switzerland because he didn't want to give a backdoor to the FBI, bro. He's like, so every social media platform that you could think of, all of them have a backdoor. They all have to give like rights to
right.
you know, Facebook, you know, IG, like everything you could think of. There's always a backdoor. So if the FBI need to go in there to look at anybody's shit, they can, bro.
And we probably all agree to it. In those
we do
user
all agree
agreements
to it.
that no one ever reads.
We do all agree to it, bro.
Scroll,
we agree
scroll,
for them to
agree.
listen to us while we agree to all that, dude.
Yeah.
We're not gonna, you know. Have you seen that post where like when me and my buddy decide to start a podcast and then they show him coming out being arrested? You know what I'm saying? But no, yes. So we all agree to it. So yes, but there's always a backdoor to all that kind of stuff. So I'm sure that there was a backdoor to MySpace where they're able to just stop all that stuff. Yeah. I'm sure they could see our messages. I mean, if they wanted to.
Yeah.
If they wanted to like look into our messages, and there's a back door to every phone. That's what the guy was talking about. He said he got I think he was like a drug trafficker, and he said they fucking connected his phone to this fucking wire, plugged it into the computer, and fucking everything was downloaded from him and his lawyer to all kinds of stuff was just downloaded automatically to the fucking thing. Yeah. And so every iPhone, everything has a back door to it that the FBI could get into, bro.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, in a sense, you know, some people shouldn't have privacy. So
Yeah. Right. I don't know. If you're looking at my stuff, all you're going to see is some weird porn and and construction videos or something.
Yeah. Same here.
Yeah.
Same here.
People falling.
and a lot of gay jokes between me and my friends. You know?
Yeah.
That's it, dude. Yeah. All right.
So where did the After high school, after getting out of juvie, where did the more serious use start happening?
So I had like a brief stint, right? When I was 16 was the first time that I had tried methamphetamine, and I did it for like probably 3 or 4 weeks. I would probably use it like every other day, and then I just quit, right? And so like I remember I always said like I never had anything bad to say about it. I don't know how people lose their shit over this. It was fun.
Yeah.
And then you know, I was smoking weed and drinking manageably up until I was about, I want to say probably 24. And I started bouncing in bars, right? I used to go to this bar a lot, and I had just done a lot of, like, while I was drinking there, I had broken up a bunch of fights or thrown people out or whatever. And so they asked me if I would come in and work on a Friday, and I was like, all right. So I started working, and they were paying me like, I think they were having a punk show, and so they were going to pay me $50, right, to work the night. And I was like, the $50 and free drinks. I'm like, okay, perfect, right? And a buddy of mine from the bar, this old biker dude, Gonzo, he came up and he's like, you're working the night? I'm like, yeah. He's like, how much are they paying you? I go, $50. And he goes, hold on. And so he goes in the bar, and then he comes out a little bit later. He goes, hey, they're paying you $90, and I'm gonna work it. You're gonna work Fridays. I'm gonna work Saturdays, and they're gonna pay us $90 a night. And I was like, okay, yeah, cool. And so we made little T-shirts, E&J Security.
Yeah.
And so I started working at bars, and that was kind of my introduction, was like hanging out with bikers, working at bars. I was, you know, I met my connect there, and he, and I remember I just used to buy like for $5, man, he would just give me like, you know, a little shard, and I would do that. And then, like, that $5 shard would keep me up like Friday, Saturday, and I'd be able to go to sleep on Sunday and continue, you know, and then go to work. And I was just a weekend warrior. And, like the literature describes, right? Like getting it together became less important and more impossible as time went on, right? And so like it would start to be like, well, you know, I usually would stop on Saturday, and then I would sleep all day Sunday, go to work Monday. But now I want to still carry the party over to Saturday. The weekend's not over. Yeah. And so I would keep using, and come Sunday, I couldn't sleep. I'd show up to work, shot out on Monday. Can't have that, so I better just keep using into Monday. Yeah. And you know, I'll stop on Tuesday, and it's just less important and more impossible, man. It's just something that always comes to mind when I think about when I started using. Man, like I always say, like I would show up to work, like when I did make it, I'd be like 40 minutes early and come in 20 minutes late.
Yeah.
Right. Like
in the car.
I just couldn't put the pipe down in my car. I would call out sick from the parking lot, man.
Yeah.
I'd be on Google at the time. I think I had like a red Ford Ranger, and I'd be Googling 2000 red Ford Ranger flat tire, nighttime, right? Trying to find the right picture that I could send my foreman. And I'm not a sucker, dude. I'm not going to pull one off the first page, because he might look it up and find that, right? So I'd be like 6 pages back on Google trying to find a red Ranger with a flat tire with the dark background of the sky, so I could send that to him and be like, oh, I got a flat from the parking lot of work.
Yeah.
You know, and so like in that way, it kind of consumed my life, man. Like I remember too, because like I got into the union when I was 25. I started an apprenticeship at the plumbers union, and my dad, he just retired from the union, but he always told me, you know, because he knew I was like smoking pot and stuff, but he's like, you got to quit smoking pot because they're gonna drug test you, right? And so it scared me out of smoking. So I quit smoking for a while. And I remember some dude at the bar I was working at, he told me, he's like, hey, you know, you got to do cocaine. It's a working man's drug. You know, it's out of your system in 3 days. He's like, pot's for kids. And that made so much sense to me, right? And so I'm like, yeah. So like I started doing the coke, and then it got so expensive, you know, and that's kind of when I switched over to methamphetamine. I just thought I was being economical, you know? Yeah. like I was paying like $60 for a gram of some junk, and I would still go to sleep that night. Or I was buying 8 balls for like $25 of shit. And So like that's when it really started to get bad, right? Like I became unemployable, right? I was thrown out of the union, and at that time I think I was probably I was thrown out of the union, still taking care of my mom at this time, and just not able to contribute anything to the house, right? Like I think I was the dumpster dive king, man. I'd be driving my truck around collecting cans, dumpster diving at night, selling stuff on OfferUp to try to give my mom like $200 a month, maybe if she was lucky, right? Like just really an unmanageable life.
Right.
How long did it go on like that for?
I mean, it didn't take long, man. Probably. So I got arrested when I was 29. I think I started doing so probably about 5 years. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it went from like in 5 years. It went from like prospects of this union apprenticeship, like a career, making good money, to not having a job, to not being able to pay any rent, to not having any insurance on my truck, to getting my truck towed, can't afford to get it out, and like it just went all downhill from there, man. And when I was 28, my mom started to like need more care than I can give her, right? Like she started to like have breathing troubles and stuff. So she had told me one day, she's like, I think I need to go like live in like a nursing home or something. And she's like, she's like, I feel like I'm holding you back. I feel like I want to free you up. Cause like, dude, she always got in the way of my using, right? Like she got the worst of me, man. She dropped the remote control. Hey, Eric, what? Right? Wow, fuck, man. I gotta, fucking put my pipe down, go do all this shit. It was just always like it, it still feels fucked up to say, even though like I've made my amends and like I've made my peace with the situation. Like it never feels good saying like what a burden she was on me, right? And really it's just that she was getting in the way of my using, right? Like she loves me like nobody else ever has. Mm-hmm. But I was just, dude, I was so bad, man. Like I was so bad to her, right? Like I took care of her, but like begrudgingly. Yeah. Like I didn't make it easy on her. I didn't make her feel good about it. I didn't make her feel like it was okay for her to ask me to do something. It was always, it was a fight every time. So when we found that place for her to go, I didn't really have anywhere to go. So I went to move in with my dad, right, who has like 25 years in another fellowship, probably had 20 years at this time. I moved in with him in Claremont, still using in his house, right, like still breaking into his room and stealing his change, that's kind of where that took me there, right? So
When did you get arrested?
I got arrested in 2019. October 3rd, 2019, I got arrested. October 4th is my clean date. At that time, right? Like, so like my dad kicked me out of the house. He's like, I can't have you here. You're not going to get a job. He's like, you're getting high. I'm like, what do you mean I'm getting high? He's like, dude, you're up at all hours of the night. I hear drills going off in your room at 3 a.m, right? Like I'm using power tools and shit in the room at 3 a.m. And he goes, you're up all night. I'm like, no, I'm not. He's like, I see your light on. And I always thought I was so smooth because I put the blanket at the bottom of the door. Yeah. I go, I don't have my light on. He goes, I see the light at the top of the door. I go, oh, fuck, there's a gap at the top of the door, right? I never considered that. And so he did what he had to do, knowing that he was just enabling me, right? Mm-hmm. Like somebody with substantial time under his belt. He loved me as much as a father could love someone without like loving me to death. Yeah. Right, like loving me into an early grave with the enabling. So he kicked me out. I moved in with an uncle for a short time. That didn't work out. I moved in with my aunt for a short time. She caught me using, And I remember she was like, that was the one rule, because she was the one that I used with when I was 16, right? She was using, but she doesn't use anymore. But that was the thing. She's like, I don't care if you smoke weed here, just don't smoke that shit over here. You know, I can't have it. She had kids, no problem, right? And so it was. I think it was a Valentine's Day. I was taking my grandma out to Norm's. Might have been Mother's Day. I was taking my grandma to Norm's. We were waiting on a cab to come get us, and while the cab was like, she's in a wheelchair, while they're strapping her down in the cab, I run in the house to hit the pipe, and my cat runs in. And my aunt's alert, so I put the pipe down, and I start chasing the cat around the house. You fucking just a maniac, right? Get the cat, throw it outside. The cab's honking. I run outside. I leave the pipe on the table in the kitchen. No. And so she finds it, right? And like, luckily the kids didn't find it, but I just remember her coming up to me. She's like, I had one rule, and she's crying, and I could tell she has to kick me out, but she doesn't want to. And I just told her, I'm like, you know what? I'll leave. Like, I'm sorry, I'll leave. And I started staying on the street, right? Like I was homeless from either February or March, I don't remember, until I got busted in October. You know, I was living in the riverbed over in El Monte, not the main riverbed off Santa Anita, the smaller one adjacent. I used to say I'm riverbed adjacent, right? It was just more of a wash than the riverbed. Over by the Gardunos on Valley Boulevard and Rose. There's a little wash right there, and I was staying over there, and like that's where I really started getting into, doing crime, just fully embracing the homeless lifestyle, thinking I was free, right? Nowhere to go, nowhere to be, and that's what I got busted for. I got busted like a week before October 3rd. I got busted for. So I was just a friend called me. He's like, hey, I got some shit, but I need a pipe. I'm like, well, I'll go get a pipe. I bought a brand new pipe, $5, right? That's all I had on me. And I'm waiting for in front of this store. And like I've always been a gun guy. And so I always had a gun with me, like my gun that I bought from Turner's in my name. And I'm standing in front of this place waiting for him. He shows up, and we're just like talking for a few minutes, waiting for one other person, I think, in the Temple City Sheriff's roll up. And they gaffle us up, right? And I kept telling him, like, what's this for? Like, you guys, like, what do we do? He's like, and they just started grabbing me. And so I mean, this one guy like wrapped his arms around my back, and I leaned forward, and like his feet came off the floor, and he started kicking the back of my legs. And everybody was telling me, just relax. And I'm like, what? And because like the thing is I knew I was fucked, right? Like I knew I was in trouble. And I knew that what they were doing was fucked up, right? Like they didn't have, there was no probable cause, right? But how am I going to explain that? Fucking
you got a gun.
9 months homeless. I got a gun and a pipe on me. Like I'm not walking away from this unscathed. If he searches me, I'm fucked. And so I just relaxed, and they put me on the floor, and they wound up they searched me, and they didn't find the gun, right? Because I used to have like, it was an old M249 like saw machine gun ammo pouch that I used to keep my gun in. And so he's trying to search me, and he's like, what's in this? I'm like, here, I'll take it off. There's a clip right here. And so he reaches over, he's trying to do the clip, and he unclips the clip, and it just falls on the floor, right? And so I'm like, now I don't have the gun, because this dude was already hyped up. I was already being kind of crazy, and I didn't want him to find a gun on me, while he's got me in his hands, because something's going to happen. But like the gun falls down, he finishes checking me, he finds the pipe, and he goes, and I remember he tells me, he's like, this? You're doing all that for this? He's like, you're a fucking idiot. And so he throws me in the car. They're searching my friends, and like all these other cars show up because I was being aggressive. And there's like some supervisor there, and he's walking around. They got my buddies. I'm in the back of the car looking at my pouch still on the ground, like 2 feet away from my two friends who are sitting there like uncuffed. And in my mind, I'm like, just fucking grab it and run, dude. Like get out of here. And the supervisor's walking around. He's talking to the guys. He looks at the pouch. He picks the pouch up. He kind of like weighs it in his hand. He's like, what the fuck? He opens it up, and he looks at it. And like, he's just like, hey, he starts yelling at all the He's like, what the fuck is this? Everybody get over. Like, all these cops come over, and he's like, what the fuck is this? He's like, nobody checks these guys. You guys got these dudes sitting right next to this shit. Anything could have happened. He fucking just hammered those guys. And then the other cop comes, and so the one that arrested me came over to me. He's like, how come you didn't fucking tell me you had that shit? This and that. I I was like, how come you didn't do your fucking job, dude? Like, are you mad because you got in trouble?
Yeah.
Right? And like, I ain't gonna help you out, dude. Like, fuck, dude. And so,
That's funny, dude.
so what they wound up doing is like my buddy who was on parole at the time, right? Like they wound up taking like the teener that he had on him, letting him go, and planning it on me because me having my gun with the that's in my name is a misdemeanor, right? Like it's not a felony the way that I was carrying it. It was still just a misdemeanor because it's my gun, and the clean pipe is perfectly legal, brand new pipe. So they put his dope on me because that makes it look like I'm the addict. So the charge was addict in possession of a firearm, which is an actual charge, right? And so it says addicts on the paperwork. It says addict/felon in possession of a firearm. And so it's like a 2-year county deal for that. And so I remember when I got to the sheriff's department, they fucking got me, dude. Like this is the first time that like I'd ever been like really like arrested as an adult, right? Like I'd been processed for like a driving on a suspended license, but like catch and release shit, right? Like this was and they were telling me like you're gonna do at least 2 years in the county for this. He's like, yeah, you fucked up, you know, the lying to me, right? They're like the pipe and the gun. They go, the best thing for you to do is ask for a program, and I go, okay, and he goes, you write something to the judge, we'll give it to him. And, you know, just tell him that you have a drug problem, you need a program. I'm like, okay. And so he gives me a pen and a paper, and I just start, you know, my name's Eric Urquidy. I have a drug problem. And the cop goes, you don't got to write your life story on there. That's good enough. And I'm like, well, I want to make my case. And he's like, no, that's good enough. And I'm like, well, hold on. I go to write, and he reaches under a little glass, and he pulls the paper away. He's like, it's good enough. I get to court and find out that I was arrested with the dope. They got it in. I'm an idiot. They got it in writing that I am a drug addict.
Yeah.
That's
so fucked
dude,
up,
they
dude.
did me dirty, man.
Yeah.
They did me dirty.
Hey, they gave it to the judge.
Yeah,
Just like they said they would.
yeah. They were honest about that. Yeah, man.
That's
so
crazy, dude.
So now it's a felony, right? So now now it's a big deal, and I had never been arrested before, so I was released on my own recognizance. And they're like, come back in 2 weeks, right, for an arraignment or whatever it was. And so I was never going to make it back to that court date, man, right? And so, like, in the meanwhile, like, they got my gun, no big deal. I went to my storage and got another one. And dude, this is so crazy, too. Like, my grandma had a stroke, right? And, like, she couldn't really talk much, and she stayed in the back room or the back house at her house. And I used to hide my gun in there. Like, she had this old, like, kind of an armoire deal, and I would put my gun up there, and I would put it there and take it every night. And Grandma couldn't say nothing, so she wasn't telling. I mean, she could communicate a little bit, right? But like, she never like dimed me out on it. And I remember the night that I got busted, right? Like October 3rd, I was going to grab it. It was my grandpa's old revolver that he left me when he passed away. And I was going up there and I was grabbing it and I was putting it on. She was like, like just making some noise, and I look over and she just shook her head like, no. And I go, no? She goes, no. She just like shook her head, and I was like, okay. And so like I just put it back up there, and like that night I was doing good, man. I was escorting a lady around town who like an older lady who was the plug, right? Like she would get all the shit, and like I was following her on my bicycle while she looks like anybody's old fucking Thea walking down the street with the little tote bag, but it had about like 3-4 pounds of meth in it, right? And so we would go from like Momo to Momo, dropping shit off, and I would follow her, and so she would break me off with like $100 and like a quarter ounce of dope. And so that night, like I was just gonna chill. I had money, I had dope, and she got a room, and she's like, you can come shower, do whatever you need to do. And so I was waiting to go shower, but I didn't see which room she walked into, right? Like I was down the street talking to someone. She waved me down the street, like, come on. And so by the time I rode my bike over there, she was already gone in the rooms. And I saw this other dude. He's like, hey, I got a lick right now. He's like, there's this warehouse. I scoped it out the other day. We go hit it right now. I'm like, all right, cool. So we go to that warehouse, and dude, there was fucking like just clothes in there, dude. Like a bunch of leather jackets and boots. And while I was there, I kept hearing a car alarm go off somewhere in the parking lot. I come out and I peek out the window. I didn't have a flashlight, dude. While I was in there, I found like those reading lights for books that you clip on the book. Yeah. So it was a flower. It was like a flower with a little dull light, a little light blue flower that clipped on the book. And I remember I clipped it on the bill of my hat. Right? And so like I'm like searching through this shit, like and I found these Harley boots, right? And I'm trying to find I had the right one. I'm trying to find the left one. I'm just going through all these boxes and shit. And this car alarm probably went off like 5 or 6 times, right? Like, and I just kept looking out the little door. I didn't see nothing, but I'd see the car off in the distance going off. And then, dude, like my spidey senses like started tingling, like it stopped going off, and something told me like something's up. And I remember I go back and I look out the door, and there's 2 dudes standing like at the corner of the building. I'm like, oh fuck! And then I see a cop car pull up right behind him, and so we tried to get away. We tried to run. I'm not real fast, you know. I don't know if you could tell, but like I'm not a fast man. And so I'm running, and these cops they tell me, get on the floor, we're gonna shoot. And so I stop, I get on the floor, and this cop that I was outrunning, who was also not a fast man, big dude, man, like way bigger than me, vertically and horizontally, right? Like I hear him huffing and puffing behind me, his feet slapping over the floor. I look over my shoulder, and he just like jumped like both knees and just landed right on my back, man, and just. Like long story short, I got sciatica to this day, dude. Like he fucked me up like forever. But so yeah, I was arrested for that, and that's what introduced me to the rooms. Right? Is even though I got busted, that dope I had on me, the 1/4 ounce, I hid it in that warehouse. I just picked up a stack of boxes and I threw it under the boxes, and so I took off, and I didn't get caught with anything. No gun, no drugs, and. Luckily, man, like because I got busted for that thing that I hated those sheriffs for, right? It took years to realize how instrumental that was in my recovery. I wouldn't have qualified for drug court. It would have just been a regular commercial burglary, right? But because I was an addict in possession of a firearm, like here's God already starting to work in my life before I really knew anything about him. I already had this case, and so they could run them concurrent. Now I'm a drug addict, and they can offer me a program, right? And so they offered me drug court, and I took it.
Nice.
Which is crazy because so basically the cops had you write that letter to fuck you,
right?
Right, but really God was trying to unfuck you.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
It's crazy, bro.
Yeah, it took years to realize how that worked out.
Yeah, I think that's called serendipity.
Serendipitous.
Somebody used that word. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean?
It's a good word.
I've heard it before, but I don't know what it means. Dude. I've only heard it from one other person, dude, and he was on the podcast. And then one of my clients said it. I was like, what the? Tell me what that
now
means.
You're going to start saying it.
Yeah, certainly. No, I won't, dude. I won't.
You just
did. So, and you know, it's those things, bro, where God has to like kind of blow up the spot just to, you know, get us into a place. Because I think I know that if fucked up things don't happen to us, bro, we never end up in a place of
it has
surrender.
To get
it
up.
has to, bro.
Yeah.
It has to get fucked up. Like we have to lose some things. Some people got to walk out of our lives. You know, cops got to get involved. Like there's always just something. And you know, for me too, like DCFS, bro. Couldn't stand those motherfuckers, bro. Halfway through my first year, I'm like, man, I'm so grateful that someone seen me unfit to be a father, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like this fool had a bunch of CPS cases before he got clean, and like that was all a gift too. Even though those seeds that were planted didn't get watered till later, like he knew where to go because of the prior DCFS cases. Well, I know that there's a place
I knew
that
about
can help
treatment
me. Yeah.
because of DCFS.
Yeah, nobody shows up here on a winning streak.
No,
You know,
not one person.
Nobody shows up here because it's all gravy, baby.
And if they're coming in here and it's all gravy, then you probably have to bump your fucking head on that wall a few more times, bro. You know, and there's still something to be said about everybody sitting at this table. There's still something to be said about members, you know, who stay clean for X amount of time, bro. There's still something to be said about that because every addict, bro, right? Whether you're clean or loaded, bro, goes through fucked up shit. Every addict, I believe that there have been multiple off-ramps of my addiction. Like here, God's like, here, dude, there's an off-ramp right here. Take it. You know what I'm saying? And I don't take it. And then, oh, look, another one's coming up. Adam, like, take this off-ramp. You know what I'm saying? And like, the longer I stay on this freeway of using, bro, like the worse it gets, bro. You know what I'm saying? And so
you run off a cliff.
Yeah. And this is something my sponsor used to try to teach me too, bro, right? Because like, he's always telling me, yes, it's God, it's the program, but there's something to be said about us and what we choose to do when we get here, bro.
Yeah, we ultimately make the decision.
We ultimately make the decision, bro. God could only do so much for us.
Yeah.
Right? I remember I was talking to my fiance a while back, bro, and she was like, she said that people say that, God will do for us what we can't do for ourselves. And then she said, but the second part is that God won't do something that you could do for yourself. You know what I'm saying? And that is just so profound,
right
bro.
there,
That's a nugget, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like there's some things that God needs to do for us. Right. And then there's some things that we need to do for us. There's some work that we need to put in because, prayer without work is just positive affirmations.
Just words.
You know what I'm saying?
Circles.
It's just circles, dude.
Yeah.
And so like God did for us, right? And luckily, right, we were, I want to say, wise enough, right, and determined enough to actually do something, bro. Because, I mean, like when you walk into a meeting, right, and you start to get to know people, man, and our literature talks about a unique group of people, bro, right? Some of the most loving, caring, fucking people in the world, bro. But do you know how many people get introduced to these people? A lot, dude. You know how many people get introduced to a Tiny, to a Mike, to an Adam? There's a lot of people, bro. And they still end up right back out that door, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's almost like, it's not almost, it is. It's very disheartening. You know what I'm saying? Because like at some point in our recovery, and I'm sure we've all felt this way, it's like, I just wish, right, that you guys could feel how I feel.
Yeah.
I wish you guys could experience, right? And me and Mike, we talk about this, like, you could hear about the steps. You could hear about a relationship with God. You could hear about the fellowship, right? And all that stuff sounds good, but until you experience it in your own experience, you'll have no idea what the fuck we're talking about, bro.
It's a foreign language.
It's a foreign language. It's a foreign feeling. It's a foreign experience, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like getting into the step work, right? And diving into self and diving into God and diving into pastor, man. It's we could share about it, right? There's this rapper, he says, I could tell you the whole story and you still won't know the half of it. And I believe that, bro, right? You're telling us the whole story right now. And we're still not going to know the half of it. The listeners are still not going to know the half of it, right? So I could tell you about my experience with the 12 steps. I could tell you my experience with God, right? I could tell you, but until you go through it, you will never know the half of it, dude. You know? And I just... And that's why this, like, I'm getting emotional, but that's why this podcast is so important. Mm-hmm. That's why everything we do is so important. That's why the message that we carry in the rooms and outside of the rooms, it's vital of how we carry it, right? And the information that we have to back up that message. It's just important, bro, because we've been misinformed our whole fucking life, bro. And I personally, and I know you guys feel the same way, I refuse to misinform other motherfuckers, bro, about the program that saved my fucking life, bro.
Right.
People say, oh, it's just a word, it's just sober, it's just that, it's just this. It's not. It's not, bro. Before the program, right, of Narcotics Anonymous was around, addicts were dying with a lack of identification, bro. Mm-hmm. Right? A lack of identification, bro. And when I say addict, that's everything.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That's not, I'm not a meth addict. I'm not a crackhead. I'm not a heroin addict. I'm not a fentanyl user. I'm a fucking addict, bro. You put it in front of me and it's fucking good, bro. I'm fucking doing a lot of it as much as I could. Mm-hmm. Right. And so it's the perception, bro. People think that an addict is like the way people think that addiction lies in the center of a pipe. It lies in the center of our fucking thinking, bro. So if we're addressing the drug use, we're addressing the wrong problem. Mm-hmm. We're addressing the wrong problem, and people, and that's why it's so important, bro. Because if we're only addressing the drug use, if that's all we're focused on, well, if I just stop using, then everything's gonna be fine, bro. People are going to die with that message.
Right.
We have to, man. And it's just so important for me. And that's why, like, I cringe and like, I don't want to be that guy that fucking everybody has to say the right shit, right? But I am the guy, right? One of our concepts is responsibility, right? And leadership, right? And I talked to my sponsors about this, bro. Mm-hmm. It's our responsibility to inform ourselves with the correct information. So, like, all I could do is teach my sponsees what I've learned in the correct way so that they could teach their sponsees, bro. Mm-hmm. Right? And my job is to learn the correct information, as much of it as I can, so that I could convey it to the next generation of people who get clean, bro. Because if not, bro, our traditions, our all that stuff's gonna be lost in translation, bro. And the next you know, bro, like everything that our predecessors fucking fought for is gonna be lost, bro. Right? And if it wasn't for the people who came before us, that hard fought experience, bro, that hard won experience, right? If it wasn't for them, none of us would be sitting here, bro.
Right.
Right? The misconception of an addict is like the addiction is centered in drinking and using, bro. It fucking kills people, dude. It kills people because then family members think that if I just get my son away from here, right, and lock him up for a year in a treatment center in Mexico, that everything's going to be okay, bro. But if that dude in that year doesn't address any of his core issues and doesn't take responsibility for his action and doesn't like start to make amends, bro, then he's fucked.
Right.
We know this. Mm-hmm. Right? That guilt and shame that you talked about with your mom, bro.
Yeah.
Right? Like imagine like not being able to heal from that. Like everything I did to my children and the places I drugged them, bro. The being an absent father, Mike, right? Like if those things aren't addressed, those things are gonna fucking eat me alive, bro. And I'm gonna end up in the same fucking victim mentality bullshit that got me loaded in the first place, bro. Right? And so like it's imperative. It's imperative. Like stopping using and being in recovery are two completely different animals, bro. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know why I went off on this, bro, but like
it's good.
Because, bro, it's like people think that like I hate because I'll hear people talk. They're like, oh, well, you know, because our step one, right, we're powerless, right? And people take that powerless as we're not responsible. No,
right.
Just because, and we have to remember that the biggest word in that word is not powerless. It's not unmanageable. It's were. We were. I'm not powerless today, bro. I have a choice.
Right.
I have a choice.
Right.
Right. My choice hasn't been stolen. The only way my choice could be stolen is if I choose to stop working the program that I'm working. Then my choice could be stolen again. Then I'm powerless again. But right now, I'm not powerless. The moment that you get clean and you enter any kind of form of treatment, meetings, church, whatever, you automatically take that power back. And what are you going to do with that? We're still going to blame the world for our fucked up circumstances? Or are we going to do something about our fucking problem, bro? So we have to remember, yes, God, bro, I would not be here without God. I would not be here without Narcotics Anonymous, right? I would not be here without the fellowship. But I also wouldn't be here if I didn't put in the fucking work, bro.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? There's a part that's us too, right? Even in our symbol, South.
Right.
South is one of our fucking symbols, right? One of our parts of our symbol. South, me. I did something. What's the difference between me and somebody who keeps going in and out is that I'm willing to fucking stick and stay and face shit that I've never been willing to face my whole fucking life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so like there is this serendipity. Right? There is the God, there is the creator, there is all that just mashed and put me in a perfect position. But you know what? The mother of my children was put in the exact same position that I was. Right? The exact same position, bro. We stopped getting high. Our last use was together. Our kids were taken in the same moment at the same day. The sounds, the screams, the yells of my children being dragged out of that dope spot. She heard that same fucking thing, being hopeless in that room. And all we could do was continue to get fucking loaded. Like, that's all us, bro. We made a decision July 6th that we weren't going to pick up and get loaded again. But I did something different. I knew that I could not do this alone, bro. And she thought that she could. Right? And 12 years fucking later, bro, like I'm clean, right? And she's fucking loaded. And that's no shade to her, bro.
Yeah.
Right? Moment of silence goes to her, bro.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I hope one day that she gets fucking clean. I hope one day that she's found what I found, bro. But like sometimes when we miss that fucking off ramp, bro, that's the last off ramp that we have.
Yeah.
That is the last chance that we fucking get, bro. And if fucking, man, if anybody's fucking listening, bro, take control of your fucking life, bro. Take control of your actions. Take control of your behavior. Take control of some kind of fucking choice that we have, bro. Because admitting that I'm powerless, bro, makes me powerful today, bro.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Admitting that I have a fucking problem, bro, as weak as that may seem, especially for men, bro, but even for women, as weak as it may seem to say I'm powerless and I need fucking help, it's one of the strongest things that I've ever fucking done in my whole fucking life, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's us, right? And the longer that us three stay clean, right, the more responsibility that we have to continue. My first responsibility is to continue to work on myself, bro. Mm-hmm. Right? There's things that I go through in my life, and Mike's like, well, you know, as fucked up as this sounds, like, you know, you going through this, you're going to be able to help me through this. You know, he got 2 young girls, bro. My two youngest daughters are 14 and 15, and they're going through shit that his daughters haven't gone through. Right. And so in my head, like, I'm not saying, I got to get through this for Mike, but I do got to get this through for myself. But in the future, Mike's going to be able to lean on me for that shit, bro.
Yeah. It's the old analogy of, like, if the plane's going down, they tell you to put your oxygen mask on before you help anybody else with theirs.
100%, bro.
Right. Like, Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. I like what you were saying too about like sometimes I feel like our literature is like weaponized might not be the right word for it, but it's like
sometimes that is the word.
But like it's also used as like a cop out, like progress, not perfection.
Yeah.
Like I know people who keep fucking newcomers and you did it again. Well, hey, it's progress, not perfection. Like where's the progress?
Yeah.
Right. Like what action are you putting into that, or are you just using some things like a cop out? Like I'm powerless. It's like no, you're not powerless, right? Like I've always said that too, man. Is like the understanding today that I have of a higher power isn't like dude. My personal understanding of a higher power today, right? Like God just has this will for me, right? And like God's not going to stop me from getting high, right? Sometimes I say this, and sometimes it's like people get it, sometimes it's like received the wrong way, right? But like God cannot keep me clean. 100%, dude. Like there's nothing that God's going to be able to do to stop me from going out and getting loaded right now if I want to, right? And so, however, I can't stay clean without God, right? So like there's powerful. the duality of that situation, man. And like you said something here, I kind of made a note of it, right? You were talking about the off ramps, right? And so I remember when I first got to the rooms and people would say, oh, you got to let, like sometimes you want to put God in the back seat, in the passenger seat while you drive the car, right? And like, that's not right. I heard something along those lines, right? About how we need to let God like be controlling our vehicle. And like, I don't think that that's how God works today, man. Like you were talking about missing the off ramps. Like I think of God as like a GPS system. Turn here.
Yeah.
And it's up to me whether or not I'm going to make that turn. Right. And if I don't, like I'm gonna pay the price, right? And
you'll be redirected,
right? You'll be redirected.
Yeah.
Hopefully, right? You might miss your bus stop and have to take the whole number 4 all the way around again. Yeah. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. And try it all again.
And if you're not paying attention to God, you're gonna miss that turn.
Right.
Right. By the time you realize that God wants you to turn here, it's already too late, and you gotta keep going straight, dude.
There went that.
Wow. Yeah. That's powerful, dude. Yeah.
You gotta turn the music down. Hear it.
The noise. Yeah.
Turn it down so you can see the address.
Yeah, dude. And that's why we're important in this room.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like one thing when it comes to literature, I hate when people are like, "Oh, the literature warriors." What the fuck's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Right.
And I hate to say it, but the people that say that are people who don't dive into I'm not a literature person, bro. I'm not the guy, bro, that sits up every night and reads my literature. To be honest, bro, I read the literature that, especially in early recovery, that was asked of me to read.
Right.
Now I read the literature that I asked my sponsees to read, right? I just did chapter 2 with one of my sponsees because he wants to go over the book with me. Let's do it, right? And so I read chapter fucking 2, right? So that we could go over it together and read it together. And right? But so I'm not like this guy. Matter of fact, I always say the literature completely. I paraphrase because I just don't remember it.
Sure.
But, you know what I'm saying? And I tell people, hey, for anybody who reads the literature and knows word for word, that's not going to happen today, right? But that's where our program is, bro. And how dare you? It's like, how dare you fucking shit on somebody because they fucking dive into a life-saving literature, bro?
Yeah, you're shitting on someone because they're all about the literature. What are you about?
Come on, bro.
Well, like what's the other part of that? Like my sponsor told me a while ago, he's like, if I'm not talking to you about something that's out of the book, I'm just giving you my opinion.
Facts.
That's all it is, right? And opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one, and most of them stink.
Yeah. I think the best thing we could do, right, is arm ourselves with the literature, right? Because then when somebody's asking, well, why don't you read this, bro? And you know what's cool about having your literature on your phone? You could literally look up words, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so one of my sponsors like, how do you find this so fast? I said, bro, Google fucking books, dude. That's how he just fucking
keyword search.
Yeah, keyword search, bro. And I fucking find it, and I'm able to do that, bro.
Serendipitous.
Maybe in one of the stories, dude. Yeah, dude. And so, yeah, it's our responsibility, bro,
right,
to continue to carry a clear message on this podcast, a clear message of hope, right?
Right.
In our literature, a clear message of our program, bro. You know what I'm saying? And it's up to us, right? And for me, I don't, what I've been hearing a lot this week is being able to give back what was so freely given to us. Like, how dare us receive something from a life-saving program and not give that back to the newcomer, bro, right? And I refuse to be that guy, right? I got clean 12 years ago. There's a lot of people that I got clean with, bro, and very few of them are involved the way I am. That's no shade to them, but for me, bro, like, it goes back to, I want you to feel what I felt.
Right.
I want you to experience what I experienced. I want to be that guy who's in the room, who seems well put together, who seems like he's carrying a clear message of Narcotics Anonymous, who seems like he just loves and cares about the newcomer, the old timers. I'm not an old timer, but the guys who were here before me, because 5 years when I got clean was an old timer, bro.
Yeah.
2 years was an old timer, dude.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And so, like, anybody that had any year plus was an old timer, right? But I want to be the guy. They were there for me when I got clean, dude.
Like available, being available, man. I think it's such a shame when, like, because I'm sure we all know the old timer who's like, well, I don't like to get too close to the newcomer because I don't know if they're going to stick around. Dude, that's bullshit, man. Yeah. Like what a fucking pussy attitude to have.
Selfish,
right? It's like what if people treated you like that when you got here? Then nobody was sure that you were going to stick around. Like, I don't ever want to, like, if I stay willing, one day I'll become an old timer, right? And I don't ever want to be one of these old timers who, dude, I hate, and then they try to like make it poetic, right? Like, they'll be like, well, every time they leave, they take a piece of my heart with them, right? I've been asked to go share it at the Bay Cities convention in Oakland on 4th of July weekend, and my topic is freedom isn't free, right? And so, like, one of the things,
a fire topic.
Right, dude. And so one of the things I've been wanting to that I was planning on talking about was like the was like the price of the pain to get here and the price of the pain that it costs to stay here.
Yeah.
Right. Like, we got to watch those people go. Right. But that doesn't mean that we get to love them any less. Right. Like, I didn't get clean to stay afraid. Right. And if somebody leaving if somebody else going out is going to have some kind of a detrimental effect on my recovery, that's something I need to take a look at.
Yeah.
And how am I going to know that's something I need to look at if I'm too afraid to love on somebody new?
Right. I think we get confused with a life-saving program for a life-saving person, bro. Right? We're not lifesavers in this room, bro. We're just a part of a life-saving program.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, our job isn't to save people. It isn't to heal people. It isn't to give people recovery. Our job, as experienced members, is to plant the seed, bro.
Right.
I was talking to my fiance the other night, right? And she's like getting into sponsorship and all that stuff. And I was like, the chances of your first few sponsees sticking around are less than likely, right? I said, but it's your job to plant a seed. Like, I have a sponsee warrior. He just took 2 years, dude. I met him at a meeting, right? 3 years ago, right? And he's like, hey, sponsor me. I was like, yeah, absolutely. Called a few times, never did any work, relapse. Called me back, never did any work, relapse, right? And then the last time he fucking relapsed, he got into treatment, and he's been clean for 2 years, right? So that seed was already being planted, right? And it was just waiting for him and God to water it. That's it, dude.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, we're not lifesavers. I'm not a lifesaver. I don't give a fuck if I could read the literature backwards and speak in tongues and do all this fucking amazing sharing or whatever fucking however, right? It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not going to save anybody's life. It'll direct them, right, in the right direction to find some life-saving tools. But in the end, bro, like, we're just people.
Yeah.
We're just people, part of a fucking, literally a life-saving program, dude.
The way I've heard it explained too is that we don't get to take credit for anybody's recovery,
Fuck
right?
no,
we
dude.
just get to be a part of it.
Bro, I remember people try to take care of my career.
Or their relapse.
Yeah.
Or their relapse.
That's what I tell people when they feel bad about relapse. I'm like, look it, dude. If your sponsee becomes a millionaire, is that because of you? No? All right. Well, if they go out and die, that's not because of you either, dude.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's just part of life, dude. You know? Yeah. Everybody has the same opportunity that we have, dude. It's just what it is.
And so, like, I understand in that regard, right? Why that could be scary for somebody to want to put themselves in, invest something like that. Because that's what it always feels that way, right? Like, our egos will tell us, oh, we could have done something.
Yeah.
Right. Or if I only shared a better message, right? If I only talked to them about this. But But man, like like to me, that's courage isn't the absence of fear. It's doing what needs to be done, like in the face of it, right? And so like I want to be courageous in my recovery, man, and be able to reach out to people, and sometimes get your feelings hurt, and that's okay. Like
what helped me out, and I know we're getting close to the end, so we'll get back to your story right now. But what helped me out was understanding that my sole purpose, right, as a sponsor, is to tell you the truth. Mm-hmm. If I tell you the truth, if I tell, I'll just use Juan as an example, right? Juan's one of my sponsors. Love that dude. If I tell him, hey, bro, like you're fucking up, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, right? Like what's eventually gonna happen is you're gonna start to distance yourself, and you'll end up loaded again, dude, right? If I'm able to be honest with him, because I'm not gonna spare his feelings just because I want to keep this relationship going, right? If I'm honest with him and he does all those things, I did my job. I was honest, bro, because there was times where I would co-sign early recovery. I would co-sign people's bullshit, right? I'm like, oh, yeah, it's cool. It's fine. It's this and that, right? Because I didn't know how to be a real friend. I didn't know how to call people on their bullshit, because we come from a culture of co-signing bullshit, right? And people would go out and they would get loaded, and I would feel guilty. Like, man, I should have said what was on my heart. I should have told them the truth. I should have spoke up, right? And so once that happened one too many times, it probably happened like 2-3 times, right? I was like, fuck that. If I feel something's on my heart, bro, whether people want to talk to me or not after that, that's okay, dude. I'm going to tell you the truth, especially if you're asking me and confiding in me. I'm not going to just go up to somebody like, hey, you're fucking up. But like, if you're confiding in me, dude, I'm going to tell you the truth, and my job's done. That's it, dude.
Right.
I get to wash my hands of that situation. You're an adult. You get to, use this information however you want to use it, dude.
Right.
That's just it, dude. Yeah. That helps me out a lot, dude.
So Tiny,
good stuff.
Tell us what it's like in your life now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, it's like you were saying, right? Like a friend of mine always like she shares, like, if I could just rip my heart out of my chest for 1 second and slam it into yours so you could feel what I'm feeling, like you'd never want to leave. Right. And like today, man, like I got the opportunity, I got back in the union, right? Like, I tried, it was suggested to me by my sponsor at the time to call back the union, see if they'd let me back in. I was resistant. They won't let me, this and that. He's like, just try. So I tried. I told him, I had a drug problem a year ago. I don't have that problem today. I was just wondering if you have me back. They told me no. And I was like, well, fucking see, I was right. And I was like, okay, well, thank you anyways. And he's like, well, before you hang up, he's like, try another local. He's like, well, you're not blackballed or anything. We just can't have you back at this local because you were removed with cause, right? So I start looking into other locals. Here's some more of that serendipity, right? like I'd never been to Pomona in my life before on purpose. I might have drove through it once or twice on accident or something, right? But like I got released from the county to a treatment center in Pomona. I got released from that treatment center in Pomona to a sober living in Pomona. I started going to all my meetings in Pomona, picked up my service commitments in Pomona, met my sponsor in Pomona, right? It just happens that there's a Pomona Plumbers Union, right? So I applied to that union. My uncles were a part of it. It was the one that my grandpa was out of, and my dad even, right?
Oh,
and like cool, I never even considered going to that one. My dad always kind of wanted me to make my own name in the trade. So he got me kind of he opened a door for me over at that hall in LA. But I get back into this plumbers union, right? I've been doing that apprenticeship the last I'm on my this is my last year. I got 3 more classes, and by February I'll get my final journeyman raise, and I'll be a journeyman plumber, man. Dude, like something that I thought was lost to me, right? Like man, like I live a really comfortable, peaceful life today, right? Like one of those sponsees that I had who never did anything, right? And I don't know where he's at today, but he said like the fucking deepest shit that I've ever heard. Like we were working on his I think we were going over his he was asking me a question about something. We were just talking, man, and he goes, sometimes when I think I'm bored, I think that's just serenity. I was like, dude, it blew my mind. I was like, write that shit down, submit it for the 7th edition basic text. Like, people need to know, man. Like it's okay. Like when I find myself, like when I'm in my room and there's nothing to do, how serene is that?
Yeah.
I'm not stuck in this obsession of getting and using, and like I'm not like frantic trying something to do. I'm like, okay, just being there, right? So like I lived at that sober living for 4 years. I thought they were gonna bury me under that motherfucker, man. Like I couldn't imagine I couldn't imagine trying to like live life on my own, right? Like the apprenticeship, you know, like you start off at like X amount of dollars, you get a little like a $5 raise every year until you journey out, and it's like a $10 raise. But like for those first 3 years, dude, I was broke by every payday, right? I had like no savings to speak of. I couldn't see myself moving out of there, and I got this opportunity, man, from my home group is in the backyard of another member's house. Friday night Freedom Bonfire, 4377 Gert Avenue, Chino Hills, 8:00. Come check it out. His brother had passed away, and he hit me up, and he's like, hey, if you want to rent a room, I got a room for rent, man. It was cheaper than what I was paying at Sober Living, right? Like I have my own room. I can invite my girlfriend over. She could stay the night, right? We don't have to sit outside or, like all these little doors started opening up for me in my life, right? Like the God of my understanding started giving me some directions on the GPS, and I was getting off where I needed to. He's a lot easier to listen to. He's a lot easier to listen for today, man. And so I rent a room, man. I've been there for like a year and a half, like fully self-supporting. It's like, dude, like, and it's funny too, because I know you guys understand, right? But like when I try to like talk to like a normie about this shit, they're like, yeah. And right, like you rent a room, it seems like it ain't shit, but like I was fucking homeless 5 years ago, dude. Mm-hmm. Like I hit a financial goal that seemed impossible for me two paychecks ago, right? Like I remember the apprentice I had working with me. I'm still an apprentice too, but I'm a fifth year. He was a first year, and so he's making like $600 a week, $650 a week, and this was every payday I put some money into my savings, and I told him like, let me take you on a little trip with me, right? And so like I showed him my check, and he was like, fuck. And I was like, yeah, now watch this. And I put the money into my savings, right? And like I hit this number that I felt like was impossible. It was like a goal, like my biggest goal, right? And like I achieved that, right? Yeah. Like I have like this level of financial security today that I didn't think was possible for a gutter snipe like me, man. And then I realized like later on, I think it was like last week, I'm like I need a new impossible goal. Yeah. Right? Like I got to start like setting the bar higher. Like I'm here at this place I thought that I couldn't be. You know, like I got a girlfriend, man. We're coming up on 2 years. January or June 29th. It's this next weekend, dude, and like it's gonna be the officially the longest relationship I've ever been in, right? And dude, like our relationship is so healthy, fucking freaks me out sometimes, dude. Like we just, dude, like we've never raised our voices to each other. She just celebrated 8 years, like, dude, we fucking talk about everything, right? Like, if she does something that bothers me, like, I don't hold it in and let it fucking fester and turn it into something. I'm like, I'll tell her, like, honey, hey, like, look, this happened, and like, I didn't really appreciate that, you know, I'll get vulnerable. Like, it made me feel like this. You know, it'd be cool if we didn't tell all these stories about our past. Yeah. You know, that's one thing too. When I got into this relationship, by far the healthiest relationship that I've ever been in, I still don't know a ton about her past, and I don't really care. Like none of that matters. Like, it really doesn't matter to me. What I'm focused on is what she's doing today. Like, we've all got our stories, right? Like, there's some shit that I did that I don't want to tell her about, you know, or anybody for that matter. Yeah. And like the beauty is like, dude, we take each other for like who we are today, man. You know, like she's, you know, she had all the things that I was looking for, man. Like, she had time. She has she's of service. She had a sponsor. She's working steps. She's like doing all the things that like I wanted out of a partner. So like shit that I was doing.
Yeah.
Right. Like I remember somebody got me, right? Like when I was a couple years clean, they, I told them I'm like looking for a chick, and they had me make a list. They go, write down all the qualities you want in a woman, nothing physical, all the qualities you want, right? Like I wanted a girl that was honest. I wanted a girl that was loyal. I wanted a girl that was funny. I wanted a girl that that trusted me. I wanted a girl who who had like her shit together, right? Like I don't want to, I'm not trying to save anybody out here. I'm trying to find somebody to add to my life, like I can add to theirs. I want equal partners, right? Like I had this whole list of all this stuff, and I gave it to him, and he goes, "Oh, that's a really good list." And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "So check it out. When you become all of these things, God will put that person in your life." Right. What a fucking trick, right? Yeah. Dude, I hit people with that one all the time, dude. Whenever I got a sponsor or something talking to me about like women and they want a girlfriend, I'm like, yeah, make a list. And it's always all these things, and like, okay, yeah, do that first, right? Like, stop looking for the right person, start trying to be the right person, right? Yeah. And we met each other, we met each other at that time, man. At that time, she has kids, man. She has 3 kids, they're like I've always wanted kids, right? Always wanted kids. I don't even know if I could have kids, bro. 'Cause let me just say, I've never been careful, right, through my escapades, and I've never had a scare either, right? So I don't know what's going on, but maybe I'm not even able to have kids, right? But I'm getting into this spot right now where their kid's father passed away last year, and I'm starting to look at things differently, and I'm starting to feel like maybe my purpose could be stepping up and helping these kids. Mm-hmm. It was on Father's Day, we were at the retreat, and everybody was wishing me happy Father's Day and shit, and I felt like it was like stolen valor or something. And I corrected a few people a couple times. I'm like, oh, they're my girlfriend's kids. Like, oh, well, happy Father's Day anyways, right? And I started to feel okay with it, right? And I know that I'm not their father, but I could see, but I love them. Right. And so I'm in a place today where I could see myself, being a part of their lives in a fatherly way. Right. Like maybe today, man, I believe that everything happens for a reason. Right. The moves that I'm making in my life are no longer fucking self-centered decisions most of the time, right? And but I think that this situation that I'm in right now is is part of God's will for me, man. And maybe it's to show up and be there for those kids, Absolutely. And so, man, I have this relationship, I have this career, and I still do all the things that were recommended to me in the beginning, right? I still have a sponsor, right? I still work steps, man. I have sponsees. I'm of service, right? I don't get to attend as many meetings as I'd like to, just because I wake up real early for work. But I have elected positions. I'm the vice chair for our area. I'm the chair for H&I. I'm of service to subcommittees that meet once a month, right? I attend my home group regularly, and maybe I'll get another meeting in during the week, right? My balance that I've found is maybe like 2 meetings a week, and then lots of service commitments other places. I got H&I panels that I do. And what I have found today, right, in Narcotics Anonymous is not an absence of problems, but an ability to deal with them, man. Yeah. Without the use of drugs, right? Because I always tell people too, when I go in and when I do the panels, I'll tell the guys, I'm like, dude, just not using sucks. If you're just gonna not use and not learn how to deal with everything that comes after that, you're doing this the hardest fucking way possible, right? And so, I've done the work to put myself in the position that I'm in today, to where, it goes back to if you could just feel how I feel, man. Like if you could just feel how I feel, you know, like it's unbelievable sometimes, you know, like when I was showing that kid the thing with my finances, like I started to cry, and like at fucking work, you know, and I work with a bunch of assholes and alligator wrestlers, right? Like, you know, I work with I work with a lot of hard men, you know, but like, luckily I was with this kid and I got vulnerable for a second, and he just like, he told me how proud of me he was, right? Like, he don't know me. He doesn't know the wreck I used to be, but, dude, it's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful life I get to live today, right? Like the love that I have in this fellowship is something I've been looking for my whole fucking life, dude. Right? Like bouncing around from group to group, from school to school, from these kids to those kids, trying to find a place to fit in and never feeling like I did. Like I have that today, man. Like I could go to a fucking meeting anywhere and feel like I fit in. Yeah. Right? Because like, you know, I didn't have my own lightsaber when I was at school with those, you know, with those kids, right? But like we all have the disease of addiction in Narcotics Anonymous, you know, and you know, I try to fit the rest of my life into the Narcotics Anonymous box, right? Instead of trying to fit fit Narcotics Anonymous into my life, I try to fit my life into Narcotics Anonymous, and like you were just saying it, bro. Like it's so hard to explain, man. It's so hard to explain, but like I get these opportunities today. Like I get to go to fucking San Francisco, right? And I'm in a position where like I'm valuable enough at work to where I can like request days off to go do things, and then just, you know, they'll be happy to have me back on Monday, and it's no problem. You know, I'm fortunate enough to be able to support myself to go out there and do that. I'm fortunate enough to to have a message that somebody deemed worthy of sharing on, and none of it, it's not luck. None of it just happened, man. Like it's a result of the work that we do around here, you know? And there's a lot of work to be done, man. Yep. There's a lot of work to be done.
Thank you, Tiny, for coming on, bro.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
That was dope.
Yeah. I think officially the longest podcast.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, no, it was great, dude. Trust me. Yeah. It was good, dude.
So before we close up, I'm going to ask you one more question.
Okay.
You don't have to keep it short. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, no, at all, dude.
If there was one piece of advice you could give to somebody who's maybe right in the middle of some things that you've already went through, what would that be?
Piece of advice, man. Like, you know, like our third tradition says that the only requirement for membership is the desire to stop using, right? And like it doesn't really matter where that desire comes from. Like I remember when I got here, people would always tell me like, you have to want to do this for yourself, right? Like I fucking hate when people tell people you got to want to do this for yourself, man. I think, well, let me just speak for myself. I had to learn that I wanted to do it for myself, right? Like if I had to wait till I wanted to do it for myself to get clean, I probably wouldn't be clean. Right. So the third tradition tells us, man, that the only requirement for membership is the desire to stop using. And sometimes that desire is just a subtle yearning for the relief from pain. Right. So like whatever reason that you find yourself in a 12-step meeting is, right? Like if you really want to quit and do something better for yourself, perfect, dude. Right. Like if you just want to get your kids back, perfect, man. Like if you're there because the fucking judge sent you there, perfect. Like whatever reason that you find yourself in a 12-step fellowship is a good enough reason for now. Right, you stick around long enough, your motives start to change, and you're gonna find out that you just might want to be here for yourself, man. So I think just keeping an open mind like that, right? Like not listening to everything that you hear some grumpy old fucking old timer say in a meeting. You know, there's a guy out by where we live, and I always like when I see him at the meeting, dude. This is how fucked up I am too, right? When I see him at the meeting, I'll hold my share because I know I'm gonna have to rebuttal what the fuck he just said after he said it. Because he'll go in there and tell people shit like that. If you don't want to stay clean, I don't know what the fuck you're doing here.
Is that in Northern Counties?
No, that's well, actually, yeah. You probably know what I'm talking about, man. But he'll say, he'll say, dude, it's probably the same fucking guy, dude. And he'll say some shit like that. He'll, I've never had a relapse because I really want this shit, right? And so like when I see him in a meeting, like I get defensive, right? Because like I didn't want to be here when I got here, right? Yeah. Like, thank God nobody told me to sit the fuck down and shut the fuck up, because I probably wouldn't have stuck around, man. Luckily, like when I got here, and opened myself up to this program, like I was met with love, right? Like unconditional love, right? And so, like if you're new, like just give whatever you're doing a chance, right? Like, I'm an NA guy. If you're doing AA, CA, whatever, right? Like, just stick around, man. Just stick around, because but like we already know what happens out there. Yeah. We already know what happens out there, right? Try something new. So yeah, man, I think that's about it.
Thank you, Tiny.
Thank you so much, Tiny. And trust me, I think the listeners are really gonna enjoy it. Yeah, it was really amazing, bro. So yeah, man, thank you, Tiny, for coming on. Everybody listening, please go subscribe to our YouTube channel, our Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Be sure to follow us on IG and TikTok, which is at the Messages Hope Podcast _ between each word. And be sure to follow be sure to share Tiny's story with anybody who you feel needs to hear it.
All right, we'll see you next week.
Only if you knew what I was going through. Only if you walked it in my shoes. Looking at the skylight, thinking of my life, like looking for the right state of mind to get my time right. I just hope my time's right. Lost up in the limelight, but you'll never know unless you walked up in my shoes.
As someone who struggled with addiction in the past, how does it feel to be able to give hope to others who are still struggling now?
It's such an honor to be able to hear other people's experiences of life, to see how when faced with the very thing that was sent to destroy you, kill you, and take you out forever didn't, but rather you have been given a second chance to give hope and be a light for those who are still in the dark. So don't be afraid to share your message to the world. You never know whose life you might be saving.